Happy Friday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. It is not drinking champagne. I don't know why the video is lying to you. It's another episode of You Gotta Be Sha Tin Me. I am joined, as always, by Matt Carlson. Matt, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing okay. Made my my first ceremonial donation to Gulfstream Park of the year, and hopefully last for a little bit because I don't know. I shouldn't be betting this time of year. That's basically it. But otherwise, good. Things are all right.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna stick to sports up until I'm gonna say I'm gonna stick to sports, but next Friday, I don't know. I might play the Hawthorne tournament. I haven't committed to doing it or
Forgot that
not.
was coming up.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've been talking with Mr. Bat Class. What was his other thing? What was his name before? Oh my God! I even did a spoof on it.
Stretch my memory here.
I did a spoof on it for when he joined us for a little bit. Oh my God, why can't I remember? But anyways, so Brian, we might play a disc golf tournament that day. So if that's going to be way cheaper than playing the Hawthorne tournament. But that is Clark Day. So that might be, I'll probably play races, but I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna be very, very heavy. I mean, I'm gonna play Sha Tin because I'm a sucker and I play it every Saturday, and I hope I go to bed and I wake up with more money than I went when I went to sleep. But yeah, it's a weird time, right? Churchill's running, Del Mar's running, but I really feel like it's not until after Christmas that stuff kind of starts to pick up again. I mean, obviously, championship meet technically I think starts after Thanksgiving,
Yep.
And Oak Lawn's going to start I think in like 2 or 3 weeks, but I don't know, December Oak Lawn just feels weird. But
it's not Oak Lawn unless it's like a full sloppy track, right? Like that
yeah.
4-inch deep dirt and pouring,
Yeah.
So
but yeah, we have we have racing. Obviously, Sha Tin is I think your main focus right now. But
yep.
I think before we get into the races, we do have to talk a little bit about the announcement that No Balls is being shipped over for HKIR and is going to be racing against Kaiying Rising. So yeah, I mean that race. I think we were talking before stream. I mean Kaiying Rising probably wins. Still wins, but man, is that going to be a fun race to see some of these horses run.
Yeah, I mean, to show you how well I've been running, I was like, oh yeah, of the three, major horses running last week, Kaiying Rising definitely has the best chance of losing that. And of course, I mean, Zach, I think, could have rode that horse side saddle. He's like waving to the crowd, setting a track record on the way home. So, hey, I said it was a minuscule chance. And I was very wrong. But hey, No Ball's coming over with E.T. Baird. He probably has a chance too. I'll probably pick that. So. Look, I love No Balls. I mean that horse is fantastic, but is he on the level of Kaiying Rising? Is anyone on the level of Kaiying Rising after last week? Probably not. So,
are we even sure E.T. Baird can leave the country?
I don't know how many cigarettes you're allowed to bring back through customs, but we'll find out. So,
I still remember at Kentucky Downs, it was was it One Timer he was on? It might have been One Timer, and I had a pick 3 ending in it was a Ravelli. It was a Ravelli horse. I want to say it was One Timer, and our friend Jay, he's like, dude, I was just like walking around, and I was walking, and I was by the announcer's booth, and E.T. Baird's just ripping cigs. He's got a race in like 20 minutes. And he's just smoking. And, I'm just like, well, I hope that means he's live. Like I don't know how to take that, but sure enough, one timer ended up winning. I think I hit a nice little pick three for like 400 or 500 bucks when he won that last leg. But it was just yeah, what
I
a guy,
really
man.
I really hope he's ripping darts in, like, the Sha Tin paddock, like Jenny Chapman is, like, watching him
Yeah.
like, rip cigs I mean, it's gonna be incredible content. It's a fantastic race. It's always a fantastic day, but yeah, it's another level this time, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'm a little surprised he didn't send Corrales, but I mean, what else has ET Bird got going on right now?
Eh,
He's got like 3 4 mounts a month, and they're all Ravelli horses. So, but
a lot of people are gonna be mad if they hear me say this, but what else does Corrales have going on lately anyway? So,
ooh, yikes.
we're
Um,
spicing up the takes here.
well, hey, Turfway is right around the corner.
That's true. That's true.
And Corrales, that's where Corrales, really gets his money. Although I think the Axeman last year, started taking some of his
Yeah,
glory there. But
him and Walt got cut into a little bit, but
yeah, but what's not going to get cut into is this late pick three here at Sha Tin. Yeah, I mean, I got to work on my transitions, but I don't know. I
no, that's
still feel
beautiful.
rusty. I still feel rusty. So, but yeah, we have a 7 furlong race, 1,400 meters here. We got Class 3 racing, and you know, I, I don't know, man. I kept looking at this race, and I'm like, I could probably go really, really deep in here. Um, and I think this is a pretty solid field here. And I think there's a bunch of different ways that you can go. And I probably took the easy route and probably took like the top 3 or 4 choices in this race. But I thought this is a pretty competitive race. Obviously, I think the one Lucy in the Sky is probably going to be your likely favorite in here. Um, Karis Teton's kept this mount for a while, and honestly, I would probably have been more interested in being a little bit more narrow if it wasn't drawn out in the 10 post. You kind of look back at the last 5 races and has been favorably drawn those last 5. And now is going to get, I think, a little bit more of, he's going to have to work out a trip a little bit more being out in the 10 post, right? And obviously, this is a horse been carrying, has carried 135 before, but moved up in class and got the weight break, and he's kind of just progressively moved up here in Class 3 now. So I don't know, like 7 pounds gain from last race, which is pretty significant. He's got a worse draw. I mean, maybe this is the time to fade, but I don't know. This is a horse that's in really great form here, so it's hard to completely leave off the ticket. Maybe I downgrade this one to a B. Maybe I use it as a B. Maybe I have to call the defensive B alarm on myself here. But I don't know. It's just the horse makes a ton of sense, right? I don't know. I'm maybe I'm just being a complete square here. It's probably gonna be Andrew Champagne's top pick. So um, but I don't know. I think the most interesting horse in this race is actually the 8 Alonzo. Um, but this is another one that kind of got bitten by the draw. Is drawn out in the 14 post. But you see James McDonald take the mount, um, which I think is always a good sign. And I like these lightly raced horses that are kind of coming in here, and the Fig last time actually looks pretty good. He's stretching out an extra furlong, gets a good jock aboard, and I mean an upgrade for Mr. Bentley. So, but I don't know, the post draw might be a little bit tough. Um, the 2 Mickley, first time here in Sha Tin. This is just a horse that just like once he kind of turned it on, he started winning. And like I said, like I've talked about this before, I like when these horses first time in Sha Tin are getting a good jock aboard. They're getting one of the top 2 or 3 guys. I think that just means they're well meant. So I think Mickley here is coming in here with a bit of a shot. But the 7 Charming Legend um, is coming in here, and if I remember correctly from the trials, I think he's coming in trialing very, very well. So you see Zach getting aboard. Um, and I kind of feel like everyone's going to see it, so the price might not be right here for the 7. But I think I have it as a question mark. But I think if this is a somewhat decent price, I think is one that you're going to have to use. So I'm kind of 4 deep here. I got the 1, the 2, the 7, and the 8, but I kind of think it's pretty damn square as well. So um, I don't know. There might be some last minute adjustments before I put this ticket in. But Matt, where did you kind of land?
Yeah, I kind of saw it similar in that, I agree with you. I think those horses are likely going to be favored. I did feel I had to make a pick in here. And I just thought of the three, Lucy in the Sky was probably far and away the best horse. And so, I faded the 7 because, like you said, those trials have looked okay on paper. But if you watch the replay, I don't know. That horse was kind of, to me at least, hard ridden, right? I mean, it got the win in the trial, but I think it was just asked for everything it had to get that win. So, to me, like I said, I didn't think there was a ton of value there. And agree with you on the 8, Alonso. I mean, I think that horse kind of got the ideal trip last out, and it just looked like one that probably doesn't want the extra distance. So, felt, hey, just from a value play, Mark Newnham. At some point, Mark Newnham's horses are just going to take too much money. That's going to swing the other way, and he's going to get cold. But, hey, maybe I'm wrong on value, and maybe if that horse is sitting at a decent price, you should play it. But like I said, I think of those, Lucy in the Sky far and away, I think is the best horse. If you watched last week, I think I read something on Twitter that this is around the time of year that Sha Tin is like replanting grass or something like that. So a lot of those times last week were really fast. They're kind of in a switchover, and I think because of that, like closers weren't really getting home and things like that, and that maybe continues into this week. And so I thought with everything with that, right? I mean, it kind of just sets up for Lucy in the Sky. That horse is forward. I think Speed Pro has Lucy in the Sky up front, like as lone speed. I'm not convinced of that. I think there's other horses that need to go, but I mean, you see that 4-year-old horse kind of making that meteoric rise, and I don't know that it's found its level yet. I mean, this horse to me is a legitimate class 2, maybe even graded stakes horse as it keeps moving forward. So hey, if you catch those horses on that rise, keep playing them until they do something wrong to me. So, yeah, I mean, that'll kind of be my primary A in here. Um, I did think there were a couple other horses that may have chances, at least a huge value. Of the firsters, I thought the 10 maybe just as a hunch play could kind of present some value. That horse has never trialed on turf here, right? It has 3 kind of runs on all weather, so you don't really know. It did run okay in those Australia races. I think it may prefer some softer ground. I think it may be closing into, and like I just said, the track may not set up for it, but at least there's enough unknown where if you're getting a huge price on this and it has a great draw, maybe worth a shot. So I'll probably tuck that in as a B, just as a, hey, just in case this horse has more ability than it's shown. There's enough unknowns there for me to want to play it. The other one that I like was the 13 horse, Kaying Superb. I think there might be some value third up, and I do like the cutback. I think if you look at those races, I think it's had some excuses, right? You know, First out, ran okay. I think just kind of ran out of gas. And hey, willing to excuse that first stop, right? Next race, was running on yielding, so hey, maybe that's a toss if it didn't really want that ground after a bad start as well. I think just you see those horses kind of continue to move forward as they get races under their belt. If they run poorly, they keep dropping weight, right? I mean, it's getting what 6 pounds from the weight it initially ran out at last year, coming off a decent break. Trials have looked okay. Again, I think just a lot of those kind of things that add up, and eventually you say, hey, there's enough here where if this horse goes off at 15 to 20 to 1, maybe worth a chance. So I'll slot that one in as a B2, but most of my money I think will just be through Lucy in the Sky and hope I can get through this one.
All right, race 9 here. We're going to be going Class 3 racing, 6 furlongs here. The Chevalier Property Management Handicap, and there's something as someone who owns a condo. There's one thing I love. It's property management, right? Love paying my HOA to the property management company. Shout out to them. Matt, as another fan of property management, where did you land here?
Yeah, two horses I think stood out to me in here, and I'm gonna try to get around the two Savvy Brilliant. I'll use the Savvy Brilliant as a B, I think, in here, but I don't really want to play that horse. The two that stood out to me, I think the five Swift Ascend has looked really good in the two races up this season. Granted, that's been at Happy Valley, so maybe this is a Happy Valley horse. Um, but the figs kind of coming back from that giant layoff have looked really good. And so I think, again, that's just a horse that may not have found its level yet. And, uh, James McDonald seems fit to get aboard. There's a lot going right for this horse too. So I'll definitely use that one as an A. The other horse I wanted to use as an A was the 11 Harold Win. Um, Obviously, this horse is moving up in class, but there's a couple encouraging things when you see a horse moving up from class four. Sometimes you see him kind of bounce back and forth between class four, class three. I think in this case, not only do you see that horse, running really well in class four, but other horses that have run in those races have come back to win. And also that horse has really won from some poor draws, or has run well for some poor draws. I think it was winning a couple times or running really well a couple times from the 12 post, um, out at, out at 1200. And that's hard to do. So, I think to me that indicates a horse that could probably have some success up in class three, and can kind of continue to move forward. Goes off at a really low weight at 116. So to me, I think that's the other A that I want to use in here. So yeah, most of my money will be through Swift Ascend and Herald Win. And then if you want to get that defensive B alarm ready, I probably will play a little bit of money through Savvy Brilliant. Just, based on, I think, Zach being up and kind of running well off some poor starts.
Yeah, I also faded the two Savvy Brilliant. I thought the five Swift Ascend that you've already mentioned is coming in on two really good races at Happy Valley. And I see James McDonald get aboard, so I'm interested that he's getting on here. I think that this horse is in here with a shot, and I think people are going to see they're going to see the kind of the runs at Sha Tin and maybe get a little scared, but the 1-3 back was at 1,400 meters on the C+3 course, was drawn out really wide in that race. And you go four back, and he ran a respectable third in that race at a pretty big price. So, um, yeah, I don't think this is just a Happy Valley horse. I think this horse is definitely in here with the shot. So I definitely like the five here, Swift Ascend. I also like the one, Full Credit. Um, and this is one that in class three, was kind of having his own way. Ran really well. Went up to class two, and kind of just you could tell that he didn't fit there. Got beat by got beat. I mean, actually, he got bet down as the favorite in that race, which I thought which is pretty wild. And then he got beat by one of our favorite horses in Harmony and Blessed. But came back down to class three, ran a decent third, is keeping the weight, but yeah, I don't know. I think he's with his friends here in class three in four starts. He's got two wins and he's got two thirds. So he's drawn the rail again. So I kind of feel like this is the level he wants to be at. And I think that you're probably going to get an okay price here. I mean, last time he was 7.5 to 1 at Happy Valley. So I think maybe you get 5 or 6 to 1 here on the one full credit. The only other horse I had in here was the 9 Aurora Lady, um, and this is another one that we talked a little bit about. Hey, maybe this is just a Happy Valley horse. He's got two starts at Sha Tin. He's got a second, and he's got an off the board finish there. But at this distance, he's got a pretty decent record with five starts, one win, two thirds, and a fourth. And yeah, I think that Zach rode him two times in a row, so obviously Zach, thought he saw something here. Zach's obviously on another horse in here. You get Matthew Poon aboard, who's doing a-okay. He's winning about 10% this year. You get the 2 pound allowance here, and he's going to be riding at 11 pounds less than when he last won in Class 4. So, I mean, I think that's going to be a big enough difference here. Um, he's drawn a little outside. He's drawn on a 9 post, so that's not ideal. So that's kind of why I have him as a B. But yeah, I'm gonna use the 3 horses. I'm gonna use the 1 Full Credit. I'm gonna use the 5 Swift Ascend, and I'm gonna use the 9 Aurora Lady as my lone B. Anything else on this race?
I'll just hope I get through it.
All right, race 10. I mean, we just we don't just love property management. We also love aluminum engineering here on this podcast. And no, this is not a sponsored podcast by any means. But if anyone does want to sponsor, let me know, and I am all ears.
If
but
anyone at Chevalier is listening,
but yeah, so we got class 3 racing here. We going the 1 turn mile. I like to call it the Sha Tin distance, right? The 1 turn mile. And you got I don't know. This is a pretty bad field. This is a tough race. I don't really feel very strongly about much in this race. And I mean, the fact that Zach doesn't have a mount in this race, I think probably tells you all you need to know about this race. But I have 3 horses in this race. I think the 3 Prestige Always is probably just flat out the best horse in this race. Is drawn well again here. Gets James McDonald aboard. I mean, just looks like the best horse in this race. He's going to be short. He's my guess is he's going to be like 2-1 in this race. If I had to guess, I mean, he should win this race. He looks pretty clearly like the best horse. But you know, he hasn't run this distance yet. And there's Andrew loves when I make this joke. The great actor Gregory Peck once said in the movie To Kill a Mockingbird, never take a short price on a horse doing something for the first time. I'm pretty sure that's where that quote comes from. But yeah, so the 3 Prestige Always is going the 8 furlongs for the first time. So you got a question, is that what this horse really wants to do? The horse has got to win 3 back, and then the last 2 is kind of, I mean, he's run fine, but 3rd and 4th by 2.5 and 3.25. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. He's kind of had a rough go of it, and I think he's going to be short here again. The 1 Ching is one that does have wins at this distance and at this track. He's actually got 5 wins here at Sha Tin going this 1 turn mile in 12 starts. 4 wins in this class. So, I kind of look at this horse, and he kind of was coming off a little bit of a layoff last time out. Just really hasn't gotten off to that great of a start this year. But he finished very strongly at the end of the season, right in July, with a win in Class 3. Moved up to Class 2. Maybe it was just in over his head there to start the year. Comes back down to Class 3, and just like it just doesn't seem like he's gotten a good run yet. And he's also had Lyle Hewitts on the board, who's, I mean, fine. But you get Hugh Bowman aboard now, right? So Hugh gets aboard. He is going to be the high weight in here. He is drawn a little bit outside. And my guess is that he's going to come down in price a little bit from that 35-1 last time. I'm guessing you're probably going to get like 10-1, 8-1, somewhere around that in this horse. But he does have back races, I think, that fit in here. So the 1 Ching is going to be on my tickets as well. But lastly, and this seems like a U horse, maybe it's not. The 10 Golden Artie. And this is just like we'll call this the bells and whistles horse, right? You got a horse that's not drawn inside the 7 post the last 5 starts and is getting the rail. You got a horse that is just had all kinds of jockeys aboard, now gets Karis Teton aboard. And I just think that with that rail draw, coming down in weight, getting a very, very good jockey aboard. I just think that can turn around a lot of things here for this horse. I mean, like this horse was 77-1 last time out. I don't Karis Teton, taking the mount after this horse was basically a no hoper last out. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into that, reading too much into the good draw, but I have a feeling I'm going to get a price to find out. So I'm going to use the 10 Golden Artie. And those are going to be the three horses I use here. I'm going to use the 1 Ching. I'm going to use the 5 Swift, the 3 Prestige Always, and the 10 Golden Artie. Where did you land?
So I landed on 4 completely different horses than you,
Goodness.
which is always a good sign. I look. I'm going to try to get around Prestige always. I don't think that horse, to your point, wants the distance. If you looked at the replays last out, like you can watch. The one thing I like about watching Hong Kong replays is there's separate replays for not just finishing, but also after the race. You can watch that pass through analysis, and Prestige always to me just like stops. Right, that horse was gassed after 1400, and theoretically in a race that it should have ran a little bit better on. Like I don't think the trip was that bad. So I burnt money on this horse enough. I'm not going to bet it again. If it beats me, so be it. Right, it's not going to pay much anyway. So to me, I want to get around it. Um, the horses that I liked best on paper, theoretically, were the 11 Stellar Swift and the 13 Armor War Eagle. So both are stretching out from 1400. I do think that does a couple things that should help favor them in here. I do think they should get more of that pressing trip. It should put them a little bit more forward. And I do think they showed a little bit after the wire, looking at kind of those past couple races where, you know, the extra distance would benefit them. And so to me, I was like, okay, in a race where I agreed with you, there's not much to be too excited about in here. That was at least something that I'm going to try and lean on and say, okay, at least they're doing something different. At least I don't know that they stink at this distance totally yet. And hey, maybe they can show something. The flip side of that is if you look, I don't know, one thing about pulling stats is you can see certain things that don't really catch your eye. And, for Stellar Swift, Andrea Zenny's aboard. He's won for his last 49 at a mile. And on Armor War Eagle, Alexi Bedell is 0 for his last 46 at a mile. Those aren't pretty good. So it doesn't feel like I can lean too hard on those horses just for who's riding them. Just statistics wise, hey, maybe that helps get a price, but I don't think those stats are readily available. So to me, an advantage is that I can pull those things and see them, and those don't really indicate that I should be betting those. So I was like, okay, well, where else do I go then? And I kind of took something out of your playbook, which is, when in doubt, just bet speed or who you think's going to be on the lead, right? If you don't think any of these horses are any good, that means they can't pass any horses. So just bet a race that no one's going to pass, right? Like, why not? And so I think the 2 speeds in here are probably the 7 Low Pan Spirit and the 9 Sky Trust, right? I mean, 7 Low Pan Spirit's drawn much better. Kind of like you said, if you look at some of the excuses, stacked up against it, the draws past 3 times have been pretty poor, right? I mean, 14 post, 10 post, 11 post. It finally gets a 5 post. Harry Bentley is also a glorious 0 for 26 at the distance. So look, someone has to win this race. So one of these jockeys has to get off the snide if I don't think James McDonald is going to win this. And hey, it's harder to screw up speed. So, just go and send and hope something works out. And same for the 9 Sky Trust, right? I mean, from the 14 post, I think that horse has to go, right? Did really, only got 2 chances, right? You either go or you try and take full back. And I don't think this horse wants to take back at all. So, I think at least with not a lot of speed signed on in here and the extra 200 to work out position, maybe Lal Hewitson can work something out. So I'll be pretty wide in here. Like I said, I'll be the 7, 9, 11, and 13, just trying to get around Prestige always. So what I think is going to be a really poor price.
I will say that we do have a withdrawn horse in this race in the 14. And if the second also eligible Prey Premier draws in, I'm probably in again.
Yeah,
because
Dillbag. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'm going to pronounce it Dillbag because that's much funnier. Did draw into the 14, so
okay,
you're not getting Prey Premier just yet.
All right, that's a shame. Um, well, Dillbag, why don't we look at our why don't we look at our I guess separate picks here. And we did not land on the same race. I swear, did you land in the fourth race? Did you go to the all weather race like a madman?
No, no,
Okay, what
I
race
I
are you
refuse
on?
to. Absolutely not. I'm on race 3. So
Okay. So I'll start then because I'm on race two. And we have we have a 1,000 meter race, right? We got we got the straight, and I'm looking at this race. You got a lot of first time starters, and this is this is where these horses, they start, right? Like you've seen a lot of really great horses win this, you know, first 5 furlong race, and move up the class ladder, and you've seen really good, really like nice horses. So you got a lot of first time starters here. You got cool names like Rising Phoenix and Shiny Rapidash and all other kinds of Pokemon in here. You got a Kai Ying horse and Kai Ying Resilience with Zach aboard, right? Honestly, I thought the two Grand Nova was very interesting in here, but I feel like his best race was going the 1,000 meters at Happy Valley, which includes a hook, includes a turn. So, um, I ran decent enough in um, the straight race that he a couple yeah the one straight race I think that he does have at Sha Tin. He ran second, and he's getting the outside draw, right? So the two Grand Nova probably in here with a shot. Watch the price. I think if you get what you've gotten the last couple times, like 4 or 5 to 1, definitely worth a bet there. But man, 5 furlong race. You know what I love in 5 furlong races? I love speed. I mean, well, actually, I love speed in basically any race, so that's a lie. Um, and you know, I see a horse that's got it's carrying 106 pounds, is drawn in the 10 post, and we got Brittany Wong aboard. I mean, this horse has to go, right? And this is a horse that's been running, these 1,200 1,000 meters at Happy Valley. Coming here. This is, I think, the second time he's run the 5 furlong race here at Sha Tin. But uh, I mean, I think that this is going to be your outside drawn speed, and outside's generally where you want to be on this 5 furlong course. So I like the 14 Dan attack here. Low weight, right? You get Brittany Wong aboard, so you also get an additional 10 pounds. Um, and I just think that they're gonna go. I mean, this horse is legitimately carrying 28 pounds less than it did last time. And it finished a narrow second by 3/4 of a length. I'm pretty sure 20 pounds probably makes up that 3/4 of a length, if not a little bit more. So, yeah, I like the 14 Dan attack. I'm hoping I get a little bit of a price, but we'll see. 14 Dan attack, and I'll probably play a Quinella with the two horse Grand Nova. I think I like Grand Nova in this spot as well, but I'll make 14 my pick. And you're just like shaking your head because I'm picking a Brittany Wong horse again.
no, I actually like it a lot. I think if you remember at the end of last season, I ran some of those stats of like, hey, what do weights matter and where do they matter most? And like the thing that surprised me most was these 5 furlong straight races. Like weights matter a ton. I
Mm.
think the prevailing thought is like, hey, the longer a race, the more likely it is that a lighter horse wins because you're just running longer with less weight. But no, I think the start and the distance helps most at actually the short race. So I like it. I think yeah,
Sweet.
I think she's got a chance.
Sweet. Well, actually, that might be bad for me because I don't know. I
No,
feel
I'm not
like
gonna
we
bet
we.
it, but, I like it. I like the idea. So
All right, race three. Where did you land?
so I'm gonna stick with my trend of betting jocks that have absolutely no history of winning at the distance, and I went straight to the 2 horse and Ben Thompson, who was a glorious O for his last 63 at, 1,200 meters. I actually found this horse looking at a trial for one of the other firsters. And if you watch the last trial on New Future Folks, granted it's on all weather, um, but it runs away from the field, right? I mean, and actually was running against some pretty good horses. And look, I don't look into trials too much, but I think this horse has a lot going for it. If you look at kind of the draws that it's had, right? It's never been drawn inside the 10 post. Finally gets a decent draw. it's hitting that fourth race, and I think that fourth race in your career is really when you start kind of hitting strides, right? And you expect kind of that win to come. And I think this horse is just primed, right? There's really no other speed signed on in here. A lot of firsters in here, but even you look at their trials, those horses are sitting back and not doing much. And hey, I think if this horse can show some speed and Ben Thompson can send, um, this one could just wire the field all the way around, right? Getting blinkers for the first time, that's always a positive. So, I mean, you can kind of see the intent and you can kind of see what might happen here. And I do think you get a really huge price on this. And so, all signs to me point to Ben Thompson at least having a decent chance to send this horse out and wire the field around. So, yeah, I don't know what odds you get, but I'm assuming it'll at least be double digits. And kind of looking forward to sending some money through this one. So that'll be my pick in here is a jockey that is never won at the distance.
Well, it's going to do it for us here, and you've got to be Sha Tinning me. Obviously, check us out at ontherwronglead.com, at wrong_lead on Twitter. Matt is at Slow and Steadied. He'll have his thoughts on the rest of the card and all that posted on Twitter. I am at Cherry Drank, and also at wrong_lead. And yeah, let's make some money this weekend, and let's maybe not get all chalk. How about that? Have a
Good luck, everybody.
Guys.